It's lovely when you go to any garden show and see fantastic nurseries and show gardens, and we've got all of that at the Ascot Spring Garden Show. But there are many opportunities to learn a little bit as you go along, and this garden really appealed to me on that front. It looks gorgeous, there's some fantastic planting, but there's also these little windows letting you know what's going on underneath the various areas in the garden. Tell me a little bit about these little sort of peepholes that you've got.
Well, we called the garden What Lies Beneath, and what we're trying to explain in it to the members of the public is that what you see on the surface is only really part of the scenario of having your garden landscaped. There's so many issues that we get from people ringing us that have had trouble with their garden, and when we go and investigate, we find out that it hasn't been constructed properly. So
can we have a little look under here? So in the middle of this bit of fake grass, we've got what appears to be a window pane, and then very cleverly it's showing what went on before this grass stuff was laid.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So what we've got is the correct depth that the garden, the lawn area should be dug out at, and then we've got a geotextile matting with some compacted Type 1 MOT, and then the final finish of grit sand or grano dust on the top before you put your layer of, this is artificial turf, on this garden here.
And of course it would be very different if you were putting down real grass, but the great thing about this is you're illustrating the various things you've got here. And this does it perfectly, because I should think if someone looked at that they might finally understand it. But there's one thing you've got to explain there. You mentioned MOT, which to most people is something to do with a car.
Yeah, well, MOT is a type of stone material. It's up to 10 millimetre bits of angular grit with a dust in it that will compact down in a nice layer, but also allow still for drainage. So it's something that they should see on their quotation from a contractor of that compacted layer of Type 1 MOT.
Fantastic. And over there's a similar setup for if you want a sort of a decking area. But again, for me, the bit that really appeals most of all is this planting. It's delightful. Is it something you're very heavily involved with, the planting too, yourself?
Well, the planting itself, before the planting came in, this garden looked very drab and very dull. And as with all the gardens that I've helped landscape with the association, the planting brings it to life. We worked with a designer, Claudia de Jong Designs. She has a very good talent of plant combinations and making areas seem almost wildlife and countrified, even around this very sort of modern statements with the composite decking and the artificial grass. I still think you feel like you're partially in the country, and the planting really sets it alight, and it's the bit the public have liked the best.
I have to say, you've hit the nail on the head, and it is lovely because here we've got gardens to suit really just about every sort of space, but also every sort of taste. So perfect. This is lovely. I love the planting in particular.